Today we are going to study one important topic which is the basics of database. The topic name is keys. The topic name is keys. So what do you mean by keys? What is the intention of it? All these things before we get into the definition, the technical aspects of it. Let's try with some very basic questions. Let's try to understand this with some very basic questions. So what is a basic question? Suppose if I ask you a query like this. Let's say I have asked a query like write a query to find out all the employee names working in New York. If I ask the question like this, okay, let's say you don't know SQL, you don't know anything, but what I'm going to ask you is I'm just going to give you these two tables, okay, a generic table, okay, and I'm going to just tell them I'm just giving you this data, can you give me the result of this? If this was your question, if this is the question I'm asking, how would you look at it? First, you'll try to look at this data. So when you're looking at this data on a very high level, what you can see, you are having two types of data. One is a EMP data, one is a department data. Okay. So let's understand what is EMP data. You have the employee number, employee name, job, hire date, MGR, SAL, commission, department number. Fine. So what does this do? Employee number is something similar to your roll number, name is your employee name, job is the designation, hire date is the date in which he was hired, MGR is the manager of the employee, salary is the monthly salary, commission, what commission is getting, and department is department number, where he is working. So this is the data you have assimilated, you have understood this employee data now. Now let's look at this department data. Now, if you look at this department data, what are you trying to do? You're trying to, again, we'll do the same exercise what we did for EMP data. It has how many columns? 3 columns. Department number, department name, location. Now what is department number? That's the number, a generic number given to a department. What is a name? It is the name of the department. What is location? Where the department is located. Simple. So now what you have done, you have understood the data points. When I'm saying data points, you have understood two tables. One is EMP, one is department. You understood all the columns and the meaning of those columns of both of these tables. Now let's look at the question. What is the question a guy is asking, a person is asking, or what I am asking? Write a query to find out all the employee names who is working in New York. Okay. So the moment I hear look at this question, the first thing what comes to my mind, e-name. E-name is present here. Okay, working in New York. So I'll search for New York here. New York is not present here, but New York is present here. Okay. Now, how will I relate this table with this table? How am I going to do? I'm going to look at the columns. So if you look at closely these two tables, there is one common column here. What is the common column? One is department number again. This also department number. Now what is the use of this common column? I'll explain you. Smith is there. His job is clerk. He is working in department number 20. Now if I come to department number table and if I look at 20, what is the meaning of 20? 20 is there. 20's actual name is research. Where it is located? Dallas. Okay. Same thing I'm going to do with this record, Miller. Try to understand. What is Miller? Miller is a guy who is working as a clerk. He is working in which department? Department number 10. Now what is 10? 10 is nothing but accounting department. Where is accounting department located? New York. Yes or no? By this, what have I understood? This common column is acting as a link between the two tables. Correct? If this column would not have existed, or if this common column would not have existed, can I make this statement? I can make a statement saying EMP and department table are not related. But since there is a common column associated, okay, there is a common column, what I can say, I can make a statement saying these two tables are related. And if I go into much more detail and if I'm asking how are these two tables related, my answer to you will be the two tables are related you using a common column by the name department number. Up till now, what all I have discussed in a non-technical way. What is non-technical way? Pure common sense. Okay, I don't know database, I don't know anything, I don't know SQL. I'm just giving you data. Using the data, I'm inferencing something. That's what have been done. So looking at all this inference, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up with the answer. I'm going to say the answer is Miller. One of the answer is Miller. So why Miller is getting satisfied? So Miller is a guy who's working in department number 10 and is working as, and 10 is accounting. Accounting is what? New York. So Miller is working in New York. So all these exercises we have done. Okay. Now imagine the table is having on 1 million records. Every time I cannot do this. I cannot do this cross relationship manually for each record, right? So though in those kind of cases, what will help? It will help our SQL will come into picture. So what we can do in a simple script, we can solve this problem instead of doing it record by record. Okay, that's what I have done as of now. I've gone record by record, record by record, record by record, and then I have concluded that Miller is the answer. Is one of the answer, not the complete answer. In our case, even Clark, even King is also the correct answer. Clark is also the correct answer. So wherever 10 is there, all those 10 are nothing but New York. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is, end of the day, what is table? Database. Database is a collection of tables. Okay. If I have to add still more details to it, what can I say? A database is a collection of interrelated tables. Now, if someone asks how it is related, through a common column. The common column example I just gave you now. Okay. But in technically, how it is called? Okay, that is the question. Okay, how do you understand this? So technically what happens is they have certain definitions of definitions, and that's the way of looking at it. Okay, I'll just give you two. So there are two things. Okay, the whatever I've explained to you, the same thing I'll explain to you technically. The first thing is, one is a primary key. The next one is a foreign key. What do you mean by a primary key and a foreign key? Okay, look at the understand definition. In any given table, there can be a minimal set of columns which can identify each record uniquely. That is called as primary key. Okay, let's try to understand this definition. So in a database, what did I say you? It's a collection of tables. Okay, it's a collection of interrelated tables. So what is this primary key saying? If you take any table in the database, there can be a minimal set of columns which can identify each record uniquely. What do you mean by that statement? Let's try to understand. If there are 8 columns here, among these columns, there will be one column which will always be unique. One column or a combination of column. So what is the meaning of this? I'll just explain now. If you look at this table, employee number is always unique because the roll number of an employee will not change. Generally, it's always unique. Now we can argue, looking at the data, employee name is also unique. But that will not suit the case. The reason being, tomorrow one more employee might come with having the same name. But there can never be a scenario where there is an employee with the same number. Now your question, the next question what you might have is, sir, why are you saying that minimal set of columns? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this is, a primary key need not be a single column. It can be a combination of column. For example, the combination of employee number and employee name can also be considered for primary key. However, between employee number, employee name and employee number, which is having least columns, employee number. So employee number is considered as a primary key. So what do I mean by combination is, the 7369 and Smith combination will never repeat. The reason being, employee number itself is unique. If employee number itself is unique, whatever column you concatenate it with or join it with, it will always, that combination will always be unique. Okay, just to avoid that kind of confusion, okay, what they have told, they have suggested that it's a minimal set of columns. So if there is a combination of employee number, employee name and employee number, which one is considered as primary key? Employee number. Got it? That's a very simple definition. Now in this table, what is the primary key, or what is the primary key of this table? Department table, department number. The reason being it's just a numeric given to a number, a department name. Okay. For example, there might be accounting branch for uh, accounts, commerce students. The same accounting can be there for high school also. In those kind of cases, department number will change, that the name will be same. This is how you look at it. Okay. So this is the meaning of primary key. Now let's understand what is the meaning of foreign key. Okay. Try to understand the definition properly. Let's try to change the font color. In any given two tables, if there is a column C1 which can identify which can look not identify which can look upon column C2 of table T2 uniquely, then column C1 of table T1 is called as a foreign key. Okay, let's try to understand. So in any given two tables, T1 and T2, okay, I'll just generic example T1, T2. If there is a column C1, in this case this is a C1, which can look up on table T2, column C2 of T2. In this case, what is column C2? This is column C2. Here the important word what you have to understand is uniquely. What is the meaning I'm saying? Uniquely means if this is a primary key and this is a non-primary key, then column C1 is called as a foreign key. Column C1 or department number is called as a foreign key. In that case, what am I going to say? I'm going to say it as foreign key. Got it? Technically, how they call it? Normally, they will identify they'll put an arrow here saying that this table is referencing this column is referencing this column of table T2. So in simple words, I'll just explain you this. Between two tables, if there is a common column, and one of the common column is a non-primary key, the other common column is a primary key, the non-primary key column is called as a foreign key. Okay, but the intention you have to understand here. What is the intention behind this definition? The intention behind this definition is the foreign key establishes the relationship between the tables. The foreign key establishes the relationship between the tables. So what do you mean by relationship? If there is no common column, the concept of foreign key will never exist. Correct? Okay. On the same lines, that's what I said. If there is no foreign key or if there is no common column, the relationship between the tables will not exist, and those two tables will become independent. Even when these tables are independent, you cannot solve these kind of queries. What are these kind of queries? These kind of queries are spreading across more than one table. Why it is spreading across more than one table? For a simple reason. Employee name. is present in which table? EMP table. New York is present in which table? Department table. So if the data points are spread across multiple tables, you will not be able to solve this question unless you have a relationship between the tables. When I'm saying relationship, how the relationship is established? Through foreign key. In layman terms, how? Through the common column. Got it? As and when you start practicing, whenever I'm saying common column, you should not be under the impression that department number means here also it should be department number. Need not be. Department number means it should signify the department number. Here I am not implying that the spelling should be same. That is not my concern. My only thing is the content should be the department number content. This also can be department. So this name can be DNO and this name can be department number. Just because the names and the spelling is different, you cannot come to a conclusion there are no common column. That is not the case. Since we are learning this, I'm saying it should be a common column. But in real time scenarios, not every time it will be the spelling will match. And it need not match also. The only thing you have to emphasize here is the content should be same. Once you have this primary key, foreign key, what happens? There will be a relationship between the tables. Once you have this relationship between the tables, what will happen? What will happen? You can solve these kind of complex queries. When I'm saying complex queries, what happens? Up till now we are doing queries on only one table. Now we can we can write queries using multiple tables. Okay, how to do it? That's the next chapter. But this is the basics. How to understand. Got it? Thanks.